Hello and welcome to Big Bang, hosted by eSports.com. My name is Quitch, and today I am joined by my BFF Ghost.
Hello there.
Hello, and these are the qualifying stages for Big Bang. So, as you may be aware, Big Bang is a two-stage tournament. This week we have the qualifiers, 8 groups of 8 in a round-robin style tournament. One person, the top person from each group, will go through to the finals, which is the same time next week, and then they will be battling for a $300 prize pool. $200 to first place, $75 to second, and $25 to the sympathy third place. But we've got a lot of games ahead of us today, and I think we're going to move pretty quickly into our first game. We are looking at Computer Pajo versus Slizer3. Make sure I get his names right. Slizer3 on the Blitz map. And we've already got some voting running out here for people, and I think Computer Pajo having a fairly nice 9-5 lead. What do you think, Ghost? Do you have a prediction for winner?
Personally, no. I'm not really big player. I've never really seen either player play that much, so I'm just gonna go with the community standing. I'll vote for Computer Pajo if you want to go for Slazer.
Well, I'm always wanting to go with the audience. I have a pretty poor history when it comes to predicting games. I'm thinking that if whoever I say is probably going to lose, but no, Computer Pajo doesn't have a tournament history with us. I think this is their first tournament. Slizer3 has played before, but hasn't had much success in the tournament scene, so it could really go either way. But
so then you want to switch? I'll go for Slazer. You go for Pajo. So then Slazer will move on, and then he can have a better history.
I think that sounds more than fair. More than fair. But let's get into this match now then. Oh, switching across, and there we are. Okay, so we are playing on Blitz. It's a very aggressive map between these bases. We have one player spawning over here, one player spawning over here. Not much metal between them. A lot of metal around the back of the planet. I think we're going to see some fairly aggressive docks play here.
Key note about this map is the two very noticeable craters in between the both bases. This is usually kind of like a staging point and/or defense/trench that both players will really maximize and use if they want to try and control this planet. Of course, there's also the ever-present the backyard metal, which they can always try and go for. Personally, I've seen a lot of players try and go for the more aggressive comm pushing with their docks and/or grenadiers. But here we go.
So we've got Slider3 kicking off here with a bot opening, and we are also seeing another bot opening for Computer Pajo. So no real surprises already. Moving into vehicles though for Computer Pajo shortly afterwards, but we're only seeing some eco builders coming out for Slider3.
Now I'm kind of concerned. This is just one of the things after playing like a million hours of PA is just sometimes when the commanders spawn, they might put their factory super close to the metal extractor, so I'm really concerned about that factory placement already. I think it's okay just because of the new patches that I've gone through, but it's just always, you never want to put your factory next to the metal. It's just so concerning.
Yeah, it's very tight placement there. Be interesting to see if you can get the builds off. Faber's sort of getting a little confused and wandering around at the moment. Doesn't look like he's going to get those placements there, and on this map with the very limited amount of metal, there's only 30 metal spaces across the entire planet. Every one of those spots is going to count. I think it's really going to be great where he's positioned that factory.
Well, I mean, economically, that we're going to see that just from the beginning. Pajo going to have a really strong economy just because his opponent will be down too. Now, 3 fabricators from Slazer immediately. Basically a mimic from Pajo, but he's got that vehicle factory up, so he might be using the tanks to kind of guarantee a nice security over his first little trench or the crater, and then use the docks maybe for some backyard harassment.
Yeah, surprisingly passive start from both players, going very Faber heavy. It can be very risky on this map if your opponent comes in aggressively with docks. As I've found to my cost in the past, you can quickly get overwhelmed and you never get outside your base and very quickly lose. But thankfully both of them have gone for Faber starts. Very slow, cautious openings here. I think they're going to get a chance to expand out more than you might normally see on this map.
Now I do like this choice though, to have the radar in the trench of his own, Slazer's base, excuse me. I mean, just defensively, it's going to be a lot easier to hold, especially with the line of sight that the current game is playing. Most units have to actually get inside the trench, or unless you're a grenadier, you can just kind of shoot into it. But a lot of these units won't be able to actually connect or do any damage until they're in the trench. So these docks going to have to actually hop out and probably get absolutely destroyed by those tanks as they are.
Yeah, that crater not going to provide as much protection as it might normally because of the grenadiers, but that's going to leave Computer Pager quite exposed to being shut down by docks. But he takes care of it nicely there, gets the business done, and he's now going to push Slicer 3 out of this centre space. Slicer looking relatively exposed. He needs to start bringing these troops he's got in his base up to try and help secure this centre, or he's going to be slipping behind significantly in the economic war.
Interesting choice, though. Though they kind of went for an identical build, if we look in the backyard of the planet, we see both two Fabbers from both players and Orange actually going for a turret to try and secure this. Now, interesting choice. If the dogs see this before anything happens, they could get the kill on the Fabber and just guarantee all that metal for Slazer. But looking now back at the craters, or the trenches up in between the two bases, there's a huge army for Computer Paggio that's moving around sort of the other side of the craters. So this radar will get up, it's going to see that's going to die soon, and then the fabricator will probably join suit.
Yeah, we're seeing Computer Pager making all the moves here. Slicer 3 taking a very passive stance. He's got a lot of docks, really needs to start using them to put some pressure on Computer Pager and just stop him from expanding around the back. Well, in fact, as we see, in a crater around the back has got some docks out there. Unfortunately, his fabric isn't doing anything. A golden opportunity here to be taking some valuable expansion space.
Though he can expand it, at what cost, really? There are orange units already quite literally pushing into Slazer's base while he tries to kind of secure his own crater on closest to his base. These tanks going to start working on this metal extractor. Doc's going to try and valiantly save it, but the Grenadiers do counter them as they slowly get whittled down to absolutely nothing. Some energy could be taken if Computer Paggio decides to try and keep pushing for the base. This commander really needs to kind of start moving. I don't know why he's just been sitting here trying to build the air factory. Anti-air, an interesting choice, especially in the situation that he has, especially when there's tanks with anti-air attachments on them. So very bad choice, but hey, you know, maybe he sees something that we don't.
Yeah, I think perhaps just going for a sort of a default build at this point, going through the motions, because yes, there's no use for that fighter, there's no air coming from his opponent. He really needs to just get some bombers out, perhaps extend his control out, be a bit more aggressive. Problem is, he's gone for the docks, but against Grenadiers, he's got to be moving those docks. If they dodge the shots, they can be incredibly effective, destroy those Grenadiers, no problem. But if they just stand and try and act like tanks, then they're going to get killed very, very quickly.
I agree, absolutely. A lot of higher tier players I've seen, they can quite literally go 40 versus 40, Docks versus Grenadiers, and the Docks can win, especially with very good micro. But yeah, when they just kind of walk up and just say hi, the Grenadiers aren't very friendly kind of players, and they'll just kind of destroy your stuff. Huge army, once again, moving in for the, I don't want to say the killing blow, because, I mean, this commander's still pretty healthy, and he can actually start walking out if he decides to, but, Slazer really needs to start moving his commander if he wants to try and get back on even footing here.
Yeah, so he really needs to bring that commander forward and perhaps just make some more aggressive moves. He's actually expanding his factories the wrong way, I'd say, to be moving towards the centre with them so that any army pushes that are coming, his commander is there to counter. A couple of Uber cannons, that entire army would just melt. But unfortunately, being very passive, he's going for energy now, trying correct his eco stall, but he's looking at real trouble. He's got armies coming in from both sides. He's lost his own forces. Its only opportunity at this point, I would say, is going to be to snipe Computer Pager's commander, who's looking rather exposed there in the center.
He is looking exposed, but I mean, I don't think he's going to get the economy up. I think these planes were actually for the scout, maybe? That's why he was going for them, and it looks like he will find the commander, but I mean, there's just not enough. He's got units quite literally knocking on his base, destroying everything that he has. These anti-air fighters will find the commander, but it's just too little too late. There's only maybe 10 or 11 boom bots, and that will not be enough to kill a commander. And Slazer's just kind of sticking it out here. He's trying to die a warrior's death, but at this point, he should just kind of call it.
Well, he's moving his command around the back of the base, and it's really the wrong place. He needs to get out there, he needs to get in the face of that army, he needs to blow it up. He's been far too passive with that commander. He's got himself in a lot of trouble. I think he had a better unit composition for this map, but he just hasn't used it very well. The docks have just stood there and been allowed to die. He's allowed this army to put pressure when really his commander should have been able to drive away this tiny kind of force. And going air when his opponent was building anti-air, really, that's the time to go for more ground and take advantage of the fact that they're building a useless unit.
Agreed. Now, while we have been very super critical of Slazer, let's kind of turn the tables here. Now, looking at Computer Pajo, he's at 82. He is kind of on the downside for the metal. He's not expanding as much as he's sort of had the entire time. And, okay, now he's finally moving the units, but that was another thing I was going to yell at him about. He's had a lot of units, which, if he really wanted to kind of end this game a lot faster than 8 minutes and 23 seconds, he should have just kind of rallied all of his stuff over to Slazer's base and just kind of kicked down the door and was ready to walk the dinosaur. But there's just been, it's been very relaxed, I would want to say. He's kind of, it was like a test the waters sort of move, but come on, he knows. There's literally a commander running back into the backyard where he's got all these boom bots. He's going to show his ace in the hole sort of unnecessarily just because it's kind of GG. But looks like we're going to have a good old-fashioned chase here with the units from Computer Pajo trying to find this commander and just hunt him down.
I think it could only be more complete if Slizer built an orbital factory, hopped into the stress, and then hidden the orbital layer. And
I would love to see just some Halleys just fly into the sun. I mean, might as well at this point.
I think he's definitely just trying to hold on long enough, I think, to try and pull off this boombot snipe, but he's got absolutely no intel. And now he's stuck him in with his docks, so they're moving far slower than they could otherwise move. I think he knows where the commander is. He's got his plane hovering there, so they flew by earlier. I don't think he's going to snipe like this, though.
Numerically, he could. The thing is, he needs effectively a perfect snipe, and with tanks, grenadiers, docks, a tier 1 turret, and just about everything that can kill boombots very easily in its path, I have a very, very, very strong assumption that this is not going to work.
Here he comes now, he's going for it. They need to move another commander right now, and
good uber shot, though.
It was a very good uber shot, and some poor movement there by the grenadier, the boombots, moving away from the commander unnecessarily. Really, once they got sight of him, you've just got to click on the commander and cross your fingers and hope for the best. Hope that you can pull off that snipe, because there's no point in leaving.
This fabricator, though, it's gonna try. It believes it has strong aspirations. Oh, never mind.
So close, so close. It almost got in there to do whatever it was that it was going to do.
It was going to build tier 2 and let him know that he wasn't going to go down without a fight.
I think we may be seeing the end of Slizer 3's hopes and dreams here in round 1 as he loses the last of his buildings going down. He has a mere, I think, two docks, and there's the GG. He has absolutely nothing left, and down he goes. So a good start there for Computer Pajo, getting off a nice early win. And a damn sun coming out. It's getting serious out there.
Well then, this is a best of 3, correct?
No, it's just to explain the format of the tournament. Then this is a 7. Every player is a round robin, 8 groups of 8. So every player gets 7 games, and each round a player is playing a different opponent, and each round is taking place on a different map. So everybody, whether they win or lose, they are getting their 7 games in.
So this isn't Slazer's last opportunity. He will never have another chance. He will, though, keep going.
Absolutely, he will still get more opportunities to win future games. So no one is out of it yet. So let's have a quick look over this, and I think this was determined pretty early on. I think, simply by the
kinda.
I think that there were just army losses by Slizer that really cost him. He had the troops early on. He held his opening build wasn't too bad, and he held on, but he had his troops in the wrong place. And then when he did get engaged piecemeal, and his docks get picked off. He had the right troops, but he wasn't moving them around in the right numbers.
Agreed. I like his as you've been saying. I mean, his composition was was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the docks. I think he started to panic though when he started realizing that he was kind of starting to lose ground. His air wasn't exactly doing anything. His docks were getting ripped to shreds. His backyard expansion got killed off. He just kind of started to panic, and so he just, like you mentioned during the game, he just kind of went into autopilot and just started to build things just to build things. It's kind of like, it's basically like the human body when it's trying to fight off an attacker. It just starts building things just to try and get it out of there, just to avoid the fight. And well, Computer Pajo was just like, sorry, I've got units and a greater economy. We're going to just kind of end this here.
Yeah, it feels that as well that Slizer 3 actually had this little proxy base on the backside of the planet and didn't really use it very well. There was a lot of metal there for the taking, and we see that he was always running behind in terms of metal, but he didn't use his fabrics to expand out and grab any more of the metal spots. Just happily made a couple of bot factories, did nothing with it.
If we're going to talk about metal, let's just kind of start from the beginning and talk about that factory placement, like I kind of said, you know? They did change the placement, so if a fabricator does area build over the metal extractors, it normally can, but I was really concerned about that factory because I think he placed it in the worst position, just putting it right in between those two metal extractors, and just, it shot him in the foot, then it kind of shot him in the, he shot the bullet through his foot, then the bullet hit a landmine, the landmine kind of took him out.
That was beautiful. It was like poetry. I was getting like a weepy there. Yeah, actually, I should
Yeah,
ask
just
you as well,
twitchy poetry.
What in the heck is Walk the Dinosaur? That's a new one on me.
Oh, you old people and your internet understandings.
I don't know. What is this technology? Teach me, young
Oh,
man.
Don't worry, soon, my child.
Is it to do with the AOLs?
Not really. It's a song, I believe.
I think this factory placement, like you said, very early mistake. Very unfortunate, really. But perhaps a poor choice of spawn position for the commander. It really be better, rather than spawning in the middle of all those metal extractors, you're better spawning to one side of them, so you can start building your factories away and just let the your first fabber pick up the excess mechs.
Agreed.
So that's our game one. Let's start taking a look at the brackets and see how we are doing.